Hello everybody, my name is Sanpo, and today, well, finally I'm doing another Death Battle reaction. I know it's kind of been like an off week again, but I'm just gonna let you guys know, not only that I was busy basically like, with some matters, as you would know, I was also sick, I think from the Harley Quinn and Jinx video, that Death Battle reaction, I was a little sick, so I kind of coughed a bit. But right now, I'm feeling much better, so it should be fine right about now. So for this death battle, we're going to be watching Scarlet Witch versus this the second person. Let's see, Zatanna. Scarlet Witch versus Zatanna. That's how I'm going to pronounce it anyway. So for background of these characters, I do know both characters actually, and to be honest, like Scarlet Witch, I mean, I think most people in the market, I think most comic book fans would know these two anyway, so it makes sense that I would know them too. Scarlet Witch and Zatanna. To be honest, for me, like I'm not really that interested in these two. Maybe that's why I kind of skipped this death battle. But not only that, like I was actually more interested into Scarlet Witch thanks to basically the DC MCU, basically. But of course, that's another reason why I stayed away from this one, didn't watch it because of spoiler potential possibly. As far as Zatanna, I actually do like Zatanna more than Scarlet Witch because I mean she got the appearances, that's what I would say. But I actually do know her kind of a tiny bit more, and so to speak, because I watched, I don't know if it was like the Justice League Unlimited or one of the Batman animated shows, but I remember Zatanna being in one of Batman's episodes. I don't even know which series that's related to like the cartoon universe of DC, but that's how I know her basically. Watch Saturday mornings for like the Justice League cartoons. I don't remember which one, but I do remember liking her because her personality is actually really sweet, and I mean, I like magicians. I really love magicians anyway. But currently right now, yeah, for these two, don't have that much to say, basically, other than what current media, to be honest. I think the only reason why it's Scarlet Witch and Zatanna is because Scarlet Witch was basically the big talk around that time, and Zatanna was just maybe the more optimal matchup just because of this. Now, I'm going to predict that Zatanna is going to win this, only solely based because of the pattern in Death Battle, basically. That DC usually trumps Marvel in most cases in terms of power. But, of course, Death Battle has a habit of basically underutilizing a lot of feats that some characters do have the ability to do, or at least is stronger than the other one. Or basically they would just wank the characters. There was one, like Raven versus Twilight Sparkle. That one was a big wank to Raven, basically. And it was basically a composite versus a single character. Like a single series versus composite. So I'll just say that. That was like the only one I didn't really agree with. But either way, yeah, Scarlet Witch versus Zatanna. I think Zatanna would win, only for the sole reason is the pattern that Death Battle usually gives out for these like DC versus Marvel fights. I will still say Zatanna because I do like her just a tiny bit more than Scarlet Witch, but it's kind of a bit much, but also at the same time not really, since because I don't really know these two characters. Also, just gonna say like Zatanna is like one of those secretive like characters that DC rarely uses, so there's that. Either way, let's get into the video now, shall we? Alright, we're here. So let me just get this started. I'm sorry for that long introduction, but kinda need to talk my stuff out. Okay, I think we're ready. It's like a small sponsor, but usually it's been that long. Okay, I'm gonna start it right now.
Marvel's Crimson Queen of Chaos.
Zatanna, DC's magnificent mistress of magic.
There are those who wield the mystic arts like gods to reshape creation to their whims.
And there are those who just like to put on a hell of a show. Either way, don't mess with them if you know what's good for you. He's Wiz and I'm
I
Boomstick.
think that's the
And
one.
it's our
yeah.
job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Though we may drift day by day in a world seemingly concrete and eternal, the fabric of reality is in fact more delicate than we might dare to wonder. Imagine every single iota of it, every star, galaxy, universe, all within the grasp of a single mortal woman, to control at her whim. Imagine the danger we're all in if you piss her off.
We don't have to, because her name is Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch. As a kid, she and her brother Pietro were poor Romani, who were lucky enough to be turned into super-powered freaks by the High Evolutionary.
Unable to control her
She's a
apparently
mutant.
new magical abilities, it wasn't long before Wanda lost control and
I always
was
thought she
branded
was.
a witch.
Okay.
Until who would show up but the mutant master of magnetism himself, Magneto. Definitely giving off some big dad energy there.
So, to return Magneto's kindness, she and Pietro joined his Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Great name there, Magneto. Solid branding.
And it wasn't long before she traded her supervillain creds for a membership with the Avengers, which might have been a bit too much for poor Wanda because she definitely drew the superpower short stick.
By waving her hands, Wanda could create small random events known as hexes, subtly altering the probability of any event happening.
That's a cool way of saying she could do like one magic-y thing per fight and then be totally useless. An energy blast here, some telekinesis there, a force field if she's feeling frisky. Not exactly the same oomph as, say, the God of Thunder or the Jolly Green Worldbreaker.
But something strange was happening. Over time, her hexes increased in breadth and power, as if
Yeah.
there was more to Wanda's powers than met the eye. She learned to slow and stop time, drain and absorb energy, duplicate herself and others, teleport to different dimensions, and even strip others of their powers entirely.
It was almost as if there was more to Wanda than just being some random science experiment. Let's ask our resident expert on the deepest trenches of character history. Jocelyn, if you will.
In reality, Wanda's powers weren't entirely the result of the High Evolutionary, nor was she the mutant daughter of Magneto, as he's claimed. Her powers weren't just some simple hexes. She might as well have been a god. Until now, she had merely been dipping her toes into the vast ocean known as chaos magic. Though her powers may have seemed to be the byproduct of science, they were in reality the gift of the Lovecraftian elder god Cthon, who attempted to turn Wanda into his future vessel.
Reminds me of my summers by the sea with old Uncle Yogg-Sothoth.
In time, Wanda discovered she could alter the probability of anything she could think of, turning a mathematical impossibility into an absolute certainty, and vice versa. Wanda's powers kept growing and growing, turning her into a being strong enough to rival even the mightiest of gods. Like, literally, Wanda's chaos magic is counterpart to the Phoenix Force, the embodiment of cosmic order. You know, that fiery space chicken that can destroy the universe? Wanda fought it, and even briefly erased it from existence.
At her height, the Scarlet Witch achieved total control over energy, the weather, the elements, your mind, your body, your soul, all of time, all of matter, and all of reality. She can wipe you from existence with a thought and rend the very fabric of the universe as though it were tissue paper.
She isn't even limited to chaos magic either. They might not have been what made her a god, but the High Evolutionary's experiments did make her more receptive to channeling magical energy. Oh, maybe that's why Mama Boomstick always warned me about redheads.
She's so receptive, in fact, that Wanda is the
Okay,
lone
Boomstick.
nexus being of the 616 reality, a focal point for the universe's magical energies, and one that belongs equally to all other timelines.
It's no wonder she was considered a candidate for Sorcerer Supreme. I mean, shit, why wasn't she? She might as well be a walking, talking Infinity Gauntlet.
Well, she may have the power of a god, but she's still stuck with a human's body that can be overpowered by physically stronger foes. Though, she also survived being shot with a black matter bullet capable of, and I quote, world-shattering energy.
Yeah.
So there's that.
She does technically need to be able to think of a spell in order to get it to happen, so she could theoretically
this
be
is like
blitzed,
very
but
choppy
she's
for
also
some reason.
blocked Thor's galaxy-crossing hammer, kept up with dudes like X-Man who can fight within plank time,
Oh,
and even
X,
amp her own
okay.
speed beyond the concept of speed herself.
Despite being far and away the mightiest among Earth's mightiest heroes, Wanda resented the pressure of her incredible power. She actually wanted a quiet life as a wife and a mother.
But because no one in
Hence
comics
the
is
show,
allowed to
okay.
have a happily ever after, that life was taken from her by literal Satan. Not the last time he'd do this, too. Wanda snapped, and she took the multiverse with her.
By tapping into an inconceivable and unknowable pool of energy known as the Life Force, Wanda rewrote all of reality, creating a new universe where life was just how she wanted it.
No matter whose lives she had to change, in this House of M, she had her family back, but at the cost of her sanity.
And it wasn't long before it all came crashing down around her. Once her family and friends discovered the lie of their new lives and turned against her, she uttered 3 fateful words and erased nearly all of mutant kind. No more mutants.
Wanda weaved her magic throughout all of existence, created cracks across reality which spread throughout the Omniverse, and threatened to annihilate all of creation, the entirety of Marvel's infinite cosmology. Everything that ever was.
Damn.
Shit got dark, and while Wanda has worked to keep her powers in check since then, that threat is always there. But honestly, that sounds more like a problem for anyone who's stupid enough to get in her way.
Both a blessing and a curse, a help and a hex. Such is the true power of the Scarlet Witch.
Okay, so apparently there was an ad, so thankfully I actually paused it at the right time, even though it was by accident. Scarlet Witch, okay. So basically speaking, I did watch the show and then the MCU, so basically the powers of hers do line up. Although there were a lot of surprising things that I didn't really know about, honestly. Yeah, there's a lot of things I didn't really know about. I think the only thing that I would say is basically some of this stuff is like, oh, okay, it's like typical comic book stuff. But I didn't realize that she was like super weak in the beginning of her, so maybe a journey, or basically could just be the result of somebody like, you know, writing her character and deciding to make it stronger, you know. But yeah, okay, the information here is just very interesting. Being basically, I think at this point she might be a reality buster in a sort of sense. To me, basically a reality buster would actually be a person who would basically could destroy multiple multiverses, basically. So she has a potential for doing that, at least in her own series. But for me, she might just be at least a multiverse destructive character at the very least, something like that. She could be a reality buster in maybe her own universe, but for me personally, maybe not to that type of scale. So for my own scaling, basically. So that's actually interesting. I didn't think she would actually be at least multiversal in strength, basically. But she does have one caveat, which would be physical pain, physically, she's not really that durable. Well, there are some contradictions to that, but I mean, like, it's comics. That's about it. Either way, going to continue on with the next part. I'm going to skip this little ad that they have here, and I'll see you for Zatanna's, analysis. All right, so let's continue. Hopefully, no ads.
Come one, come all, to see the magnificent Zatanna Zatara. For never was there a greater professor of prestidigital performance.
AKA magic! Except Zatanna spells aren't just smoke and mirrors, they're the real deal, so you're really getting your money's worth.
She learned everything she knew from her father, Giovanni Zatara, who put his powers to good use as one of DC's very first superheroes.
Well,
no joke, he's the guy who taught Batman everything he knows about escape artistry. He debuted the same issue as Superman, and the young Zatanna was more than happy to serve as his assistant, learning everything he knew about the cutthroat world of entertainment. Oh, and cape shit too, but the former is way worse.
She inherited her father's incredible mystical abilities as well. Essentially, anything Zatanna thinks of, she can make real. And she focuses this absurdly powerful ability by speaking her desired effect backwards. Her father based this technique on the diaries of Leonardo da Vinci, who some theorize wrote backwards in order to hide his ideas from the repressive medieval Catholic Church.
Or because he was left-handed.
Bruh.
That's another theory, if you hate fun.
And Zatanna's apparently big-brained enough that she has no problem speaking backwards at the drop of a hat. Like when this one dude kept reversing time in the middle of her sentences. She started speaking in palindromes so that she'd still be speaking backwards no matter what. I mean,
Huh.
you know what they say, Wiz? Go hang a salami. I'm a lasagna hug.
With
What?
her magic, Zatanna has bent the laws of reality to her whims. She's transmuted matter on an atomic level, teleported across dimensions, commanded the elements, turned invisible, removed powers, cast illusions, read and controlled minds, traveled through and stopped time, and can even wipe people from existence with a single word.
It might not seem obvious from that hokey
Okay.
magic castle getup, but Zatanna is one of the most powerful sorcerers in DC. Like the time she battled the Time Tailor Zor, an old enemy of the Spectre. You know, the angel of God's divine wrath.
In order to defeat an opponent of such unimaginable power, Zatanna focused her magical might into shattering the boundaries of reality. She reached out beyond the very comic panels themselves and pulled Zor's entire magical universe down around him. She literally handled all of reality like it was a sheet of paper and crumpled it in her hands.
That might seem completely incomprehensibly impossible to us, but it's all a matter of belief. Literally, as long as Zatanna believes she can do something with her magic, she'll do it.
As she puts it, her magic is essentially asserting one reality, then replacing it with another. This is similar to other magical characters like Dr. Fate and Green Lantern, whose powers have been stated to work the exact same way.
But it's not like any rando can do magic by wishing on a star. Zatanna is genetically predisposed to this kind of magical reality warping. Her mom was in actuality a Homo Magi, a subrace of humans that are naturally adept at magic.
So it's no wonder that Zatanna became an invaluable member of both the Justice League of America and Justice League Dark. The Shadow the Hedgehog version, basically.
Oh,
Zatanna harnessed an entire year's worth of sunlight into a single energy blast, created ruptures across all of space and time throughout the DC multiverse, and has even claimed she's as powerful as Superman himself. Pre-Crisis Superman, in case you were wondering.
Okay.
Her only
Okay.
limit is her imagination and will. In fact, her backward speaking is mostly a stagecraft tradition meant to boost her concentration.
In a pinch, she can cast a spell with a single thought, and I doubt anyone's winning a quick draw with her. She's matched superheroes like Martian Manhunter, who's scanned every mind on Earth in a blank instant. Or how about Dr. Fate, whose magic traveled across the universe at the completely immeasurable velocity of God?
Zatanna has fended off countless reality-shattering threats like the Eldritch Upside-Down Man, Primordial Darkness,
What?
that is evil incarnate, and the
Okay.
Void Beyond Creation, Pralaya.
This shadow goop lady ate all of DC Comics, all of creation, everything. Gods, demons, rabbits, and spandex, everything. And Zatanna's magic was strong enough to hold her back.
And then, after secretly implanting Swamp Thing inside Pralaya, she weaved a spell within him to literally regrow all of reality back in seconds.
Huh.
Zatanna tricked a being older than God and then blew her ass up from the inside with a whole new omniverse. Abracadaddamn-dabra.
Such is the almighty power of Zatanna's will. Should it falter though, or should her focus be disrupted, it could all come crashing down like a house of cards. Belief is a fragile thing after all, and her powers were weakened for a time after she lost belief in herself.
And she's definitely got one big weak point. She's a huge daddy's girl.
Despite her amazing career, she has struggled within herself to live up to her father's legacy, especially after his heroic death.
And this MFer has died a lot of times. So Z's therapy can't be cheap, especially after dating John Constantine. Oh, I can just smell the lager and self-loathing from here. No, oh wait, that's me.
Questionable
Yeah.
romance aside, Zatanna is a consummate professional raised on one singular principle. The show must go on, and she'll always finish strong with a standing ovation.
Okay.
This show is sponsored.
Okay. So, Zatanna. Okay. I didn't. Okay. Yeah. I'm just thinking of if there is a reason these two are fighting, they should be at the same level. But I think at this point, I don't think there's any competition. In all honesty, the only way I could see maybe Scarlet Witch actually winning against this is actually like breaking down her spirit, basically, and that would be about it. Because for Zatanna, it seems like anything what she can do, she can just do, which is not really like. It's not like any like tuning force or anything in her favor. It's like nothing really. Like it's just another level, which would be just reality warping. She does have reality warping powers, And considering that her only limitation is her belief, then it would seem to me that there is a justification on why there is such a thing as infinite stuff and why they would say Superman is an infinite power. But in all honesty, if they're gonna do something like that, I mean, like, yeah, of course, I think Death Battle at this point kind of like go away from the fact that they were wrong of giving Superman infinite power, which, to be honest, it is justifiable in some cases, but I think because of the backlash, makes sense that it will not be a thing. To be honest, for me, like, I don't believe that Superman has infinite strength, infinite in potential, yes, but not in actual stuff. But getting sidetracked, going back to this fight, what's Zatanna? I'm just really surprised about all this information, honestly. And considering how DC actually kind of how DC actually like made her and how her powers are, I think she definitely got the win here. And specifically, if we're going to do a power scale in honesty, like I did mention that Scarlet Witch did have a potential to be a reality buster, but most likely just a multi-universal threat, or at the like multiversal threat, or a multi-universal threat. I cannot agree with that again. But for Zatanna, it's really limited. It's just really limited to anywhere in the power scaling, I guess. The only thing is that how strong is her magic, and they never really gave a specific, like, if there is a limitation that what she can do. And it's basically her magic comparing to any other superhero is Superman, pre-Crisis Superman, which is a man who can basically do anything. And if that's the case, then I really do think that Zatanna would actually win this because of the power gap, basically. Not only that, but Zatanna can actually break the fourth wall, and it's not because of any Toon Force or fourth wall skills she has. It's just basically she believes, which is basically reality warping at its finest, basically. So yeah, I think in all cases she is maybe one of the strongest reality warpers, I would say. So she can do basically anything. So, but I will be surprised if Scarlet Witch actually wins this. And that's all I have. Yeah, this one's pretty short. I mean, I discussed a little bit of like Scarlet Witch already, since because they have an ad, so I gave myself a little window of time for there. But yeah, in other words, let's get into the fight. Yeah, nothing much to say here, but I do think Zatanna's gonna win, and of course, yeah. I think because of how they described it, I think, yeah, she's gonna win this. The Scarlet Witch kind of only has maybe like 1 to 2 chances. I mean, like 2 ways that she could win this. One, like she breaks her morale and breaks her spirit, or 2, she takes her powers. Which, to be honest, Zatanna could do the same, which is iffy. Also, Scarlet Witch has a somewhat of a limitation to her powers, that it's belonging to a force in the universe, while Zatanna is just a belief. Don't know if they're exactly the same, but yeah. Either way, let's get into the fight proper. Alright, let's go. No ads, please.
Alright, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle with magic!
It's not the first time with magic, but okay.
Thank you. And for my first trick,
So that's how it starts.
ta-da!
You, what sort of two-bit sorceress do you think you are?
2-bit?
Perhaps I was being generous.
All part of the show, folks.
Okay.
Huh?
Alright.
I'd say this calls for an Avenger!
The Superman versus Hulk fight we're never gonna get. This is the closest thing. Okay.
Do you know the difference between you and I?
Well, I think the difference is presentation.
Meh.
And I know a trick when I see one. Universes.
You can't run forever.
Shit.
Now make
Okay.
like a magician
Sorry about that.
and disappear.
Give me. Maybe I was wrong.
A disappearing act was the first thing Dad ever taught me. And for my final trick, no more witches.
Oh damn. Okay.
And that's our show, ladies and germs.
And everybody just okay with the dead corpse. Okay.
Now that's a magic trick that's to die for.
Analyzing this matchup was like walking on a tightrope. It could fall either way at any point.
Because at the end of the day, both these ladies could do basically anything with their magic. All they had to do was think and shit would happen. They were totally even. At her peak, Wanda was able to threaten the stability of all creation.
And at Zatanna's best, she was able to hold back Prolaya, who could do the exact same thing. And despite some differences, the omniversal cosmologies of
Yeah.
Marvel and DC
Okay.
comics are roughly equivalent in size and scope. All that was left for us to look at was their weaknesses.
While both were as powerful as one another, Wanda needed to tap into the life force to reach that pinnacle, and doing so threatened her sanity.
Let's take a
Okay.
closer look at the events surrounding House of M, where Wanda's powers were at their maximum.
Despite admitting that she was way stronger, Doctor Strange managed to get the best of Wanda with a cool head and a spell that briefly knocked her out cold.
His wits against her mental instability were enough to turn the tide.
To be clear, this instability definitely wouldn't affect her power. She
Yeah.
was still strong enough to create a completely new alternate reality and then erase it just as easily. What it would do is leave her open.
Also, take
yeah,
her
that's
No
true.
More Mutant spell. As insanely powerful as it was to affect the whole of Marvel's creation, it wasn't entirely successful. There was still a tiny portion of Earth's mutant population left unaffected, likely due to interference
Could've,
from Strange and Emma Frost.
Could have explained
Against
that like
Zatanna,
very
who
a
was
little
just as strong and not losing her mind, she wouldn't be able to afford that kind of lapse, even for an instant.
On the other hand, Zatanna has managed to maintain her willpower fighting foes just as strong as the Scarlet Witch, so she didn't have the same kind of exploitable weakness.
And
Yes,
remember,
okay.
she doesn't actually need to say her spells backwards.
It helps with her concentration, but all her spells come from her mental impulses, just like Wanda. She's consistently pulled off non-verbal spells in the past, even against beings as
Okay, I
strong
gotta
as
be
Prolaya.
In the end,
Okay, sorry about that, guys. Apparently I got called. So somebody called earlier, basically, and it was just a scam. And then apparently that person called again, and it wasn't a scam. It was just somebody, like a relative. Called at the wrong time. I really just hate that. It was going perfectly so well because no ads, but then it just stupid relatives. Yeah. If you didn't know, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not really fond of the relatives. They don't really like, they're not really here to hang around me, honestly. They're just there if they really need something, they just call in. And yeah, we don't really know each other all that much. I mean, like, besides my main family, like most of my relatives, I don't really know them much. You could just blame my dad for that. Our dad didn't really want to be very chummy with them, and to be honest, I cannot see why. I really want to meet them, but yeah. but apparently this one it just like wants something suddenly. I mean, I don't know why. Other than that, let's just continue. I think this is where we left off, I believe.
Spell that briefly knocked her out cold.
His wits against her mental instability were enough to turn the tide.
To be clear, this instability definitely wouldn't affect her power. She was still strong enough
Okay,
to
we already
create a
did this, but I'm
completely
just gonna
new
do a
alternate
review on this one
reality
then.
and then erase it just as easily. What it would do is leave her open.
Also, take her No More Mutant spell. As insanely powerful as it was to affect the whole of Marvel's creation, it wasn't entirely successful. There was still a tiny portion of Earth's mutant population left unaffected, likely due to interference from Strange and Emma Frost.
Against Zatanna, who was just as strong and not losing her mind, she wouldn't be able to afford that kind of lapse, even for an instant.
On the other hand, Zatanna has managed to maintain her willpower fighting foes just as strong as the Scarlet Witch, so she didn't have the same kind of exploitable weakness.
And remember, she doesn't actually need to say her spells backwards.
Yeah, okay.
It helps
this
with
is
her
where we are.
concentration, but all her spells come from her mental impulses, just like Wanda. She's consistently pulled off non-verbal spells in the past, even against beings as strong as Pralaya.
In the end, Z definitely had enough experience fighting smart and keeping on her toes to hang with Wanda long enough to get in a finishing blow.
Okay.
While there were definitely versions of this battle that could have ended with Wanda victorious, Zatanna's cooler head and effortless magic allowed her to prevail.
I guess you could say Wanda never saw it coming, and Zatanna Maxim offed her.
The winner is Zatanna.
Okay. Okay.
Death Battle is back, and we've launched a brand new membership program for our YouTube channel. By directly supporting our team,
That's
you'll
nice,
get
that's
unique
nice.
emotes,
Okay, let's see
badges,
who's
and
next.
additional content, and a bunch more. Click that join button to see more info, and thanks so much for watching.
Woo! Okay. Alright. Okay. Now that next one is going to be a
Together, let's
skip this. Let's just skip that one. Alright, that is basically Death Battle, Scarlet Witch versus Zatanna, and okay, yeah, I was right. Zatanna did win. I was actually very basic. I was just very taking it aback. Is like, am I gonna be wrong in this one? Is Scarlet Witch gonna win? And to be honest, I mean, it looks like she did, but then Zatanna basically, yeah, okay, yeah, it makes sense. It's just she can believe, and she did. So yeah, of course, there was one part where like, yeah, the only time we get a Superman is Hulk. It's just in this one, and it's just a side thing. Pretty upsetting, honestly. But I mean, like, yeah, hopefully they will do it maybe in the future. But either way, Zatanna won. That's pretty nice. And yeah, I think, and I'm surprised they actually consider both of them to be in even power. I'm guessing maybe, but maybe it's just in terms of techniques they have are similar, and how they use them are similar as well. That would also make sense. Yes, Wanda does have a vulnerability, which is actually pretty true. Mental stability if she had to go all out. And for Zatanna, yeah, basically. So I guess that is one of the other differences that actually determined this fight. I really love this fight. The music is... to be honest, I really love the music. It's just maybe not something that I would actually listen to repeatedly or in the background. But I really do love the animation, and the 2D like the 2D for basically Zatanna is actually really nice. Although I do think they switched the sprites around just a tiny bit here and there, but I mean, like, maybe could just be me. I really don't know. But it's a really, really nice battle anyway. Now, next time, okay, so for the next time, I watched the next time already. I think his name is Jonathan versus, I keep forgetting his name. But that Death Battle I did watch before, and I really love both series. Well, I like JoJo more than Demon Slayer. That's one. But I mean, I do like these two characters, and I did watch this, and this, I cannot wait to react for this one again, because this is maybe one of the best ones that I have reacted to. But considering that I watched this, it might just be a draw for this one currently, and then the next time. But I am going to be reacting to that Death Battle for next time, so definitely I cannot wait to rewatch that again, because I only rewatched it 3 times compared to every other like death battle I actually watched again, and I really love this one, especially the soundtrack. I'm just actually wondering if it's actually as good as it is as from the album, honestly, because I did watch it 3 times, but I don't remember how it would sound in the fight itself. So that's going to be a little bit of a reminder. So a very good look back to that one. Either way, my name is Sampo, and I'll see you guys next time. And I'm actually pretty happy that Zatanna won, honestly. But I am pretty glad that I didn't watch this death battle as it was, because it would spoil like WandaVision and maybe some parts of this MCU. So thank God for that. Also, I do apologize for like again the phone ringing. Like if you heard my phone ringing right here, yeah, it was basically one of my relatives. It's just shit. I accidentally dropped that. If you're wondering which relative, it's basically my cousin, and he's not the best cousin in all honesty. He basically only calls if he needs to. He never actually like does the same thing if we call for him. So yeah, I sadly had to answer it because this is one of my dad's relatives as well. So they're his side of exactly what I'm saying, pretty much assholes. But either way, I'll catch you guys later the next time, and hopefully that never happen again. I'm actually lucky there's no ads here.